Just love our intro music, Alex. I'm bobbing over here. It's a good Tuesday. What is up, maniacs? Welcome back to Sound and Pound, your weekly programming here at MMania.com with myself, Drake Riggs, and Mr. Alex Behunin. Always fun times, always a lot of things going on in the mixed martial arts world that we will get into. The craziness from the past week, the craziness in the present week, and coming up, the matchup roundup, all these things that we got going on. I mean, Alex, just how are we feeling on November 7th, 2023? It's our first show of November as we had the birthday special last week.
It's good, man. It's good. It was kind of a fighting wise, it was kind of a shit event last week, so I'm happy about this UFC 295, the 30th anniversary special that's not being promoted for the 30th
Not so much.
anniversary. So it's kind of weird. But
I'm glad you
good.
mentioned Sao Paulo because we're honestly probably not going to talk about that very much, you guys. And I actually missed the main event, and it sounds like I didn't miss much, so I haven't watched it. So if we get into that, you can share the little bit you have to offer. Wasn't great though, right?
Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, wasn't really good.
We'll just leave it at that. But I mean, just going off the birthday special real quick, Alex. I mean, I'm curious. I've heard from like a bunch of people that Halloween's like dying in terms of the tradition. Did you get like kids coming by or anything?
Zero trick or treaters. And then I kind of drove. We drove around a little bit to go run some errands, and there was
Mm,
like no trick or treat. I,
weird.
I feel like no kids to go trick or treating nowadays, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was talking to like my grandma and stuff who lives in, a pretty dense neighborhood and just from just people saying that like maybe one or two at like most. I'm like, damn, that's so weird. Because I
Yeah,
remember as a kid, it was like everybody, everybody's out.
yeah. I don't know if it's just uh, if if it's just
Safety.
not
I don't
safety,
know.
or
Yeah.
if kids are on their fucking phones and don't want to go
Probably
get
a combo.
candy, or
Yeah.
like I have no idea.
Yeah, it's wild. So kind of sad, but is what it is. The world evolves, all that stuff. People get stuck indoors, I guess. But anyway, all right, Alex, let's break right into it. Let's get down to the nitty gritty, kicking things off, of course, with our maniacal moment of the week. I think we got a couple of good options to choose from here in the UFC, out of the UFC, in the cage, in the ring, out of the ring, wherever it may be. Why don't you start us off, man? What is your maniacal moment of the
I think
past
I'm
week?
just gonna go the UFC Sao Paulo main event. It's just like I just felt like Jonathan Almeida had such a big opportunity to if he would have went in there and smoked Derek Lewis, he would have got the Cyril Gahn fight,
Mm,
and that's a very winnable fight for him. Instead, he goes in there and just lays a goose egg, and now you're gonna have to fight Curtis Blades, who's probably the toughest matchup in the division for you. Especially because, like, I think the biggest question people have is like what's gonna happen when Jonathan Almeida can't get somebody down?
yeah.
What's he gonna face? Like, what does he have hands? Does he like what's the questions? And I don't think he's gonna be able to take Curtis Blades down. So like it's gonna answer a lot of questions. But like it's crazy. Like, obviously, so you didn't watch the fight. So like the
He got
first
a
two
takedown in
rounds,
every round, though. I looked at the stats.
dude, take down every round, and he
Yeah.
mounted Derek Lewis in every single round, which is wild. And I saw somebody break this down, and it's not my original thought, but like people
Mhm.
were saying that like he was afraid to throw ground and pound because that's when Derek Lewis explodes, and he would have lost
Mm.
position.
He just
But
gets up.
like, yeah, I just feel like if Jalton was just throwing elbows or throwing ground and pound, I think the referee was like would have stopped the fight. So I just think it was such a big missed opportunity, and it just I think his stock
Dropped a
bro, I
little
mean,
bit.
it was a 50-40. I mean, I saw some people say 50-40. I
Yeah,
don't think
straight
it was
up.
10.
All 10
It
eight.
wasn't. No, it just wasn't. Like there wasn't. I mean, yeah, it was control, but like there was nothing. There's no damage done or anything. So like, I think it was like a 50, maybe like a 50-42. You know what I'm saying? Like I
You
don't know.
had some
Like
in there though, for sure, is
yeah,
what you're
like maybe
saying.
the
Okay.
maybe like the first 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
but like I just think his stock lot like it
Well, the
went
thing is,
down
right, if he
on the
was that
internet.
dominant, it's kind of it hurts him because he didn't get the finish, right? One of those cases.
And we've seen lesser fighters
Do that to
submit
Derek Lewis. Yeah.
Derek Lewis and finish
Okay.
Derek Lewis. So, and I know, like, we got to give props to Derek Lewis for
Yeah.
surviving. And I don't know, like, maybe he was working on his submission defense. Like, he wasn't really doing much. He was just kind of holding his arms, just kind of like, So, yeah, it just was very super lackluster. It's 2 UFC Sao Paulo main events in a row that were just bullshit. The last one was Jacare versus Jan Blachowicz, and
Oof.
that
Yeah.
that fight was garbage. So the only like the big bright spot was actually Nicholas Dalby defeating Bonfim.
Hmm.
I don't know if it was a fraud check because Bonfim did so good in the first round, just gassed, and Dalby's just a tough dude. So
I love Dolby, man. What a great
man,
story.
dude, 1000%. So that's my not moment of the week is just Dalton Almeida. Just it wasn't it.
Yeah, that's a bummer, and it's kind of like that thing. Yeah, went out there, got the win, but we all expected you to do this one thing that you should have done, that you definitely should have done, especially stylistically and all that. So, I don't know, maybe I'll try and watch a little highlight thing if there is any. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of I guess how quickly he comes back and all that. But yeah, so. What is up, people? As we see Synchros in here, Cade Morehouse, how you doing, sir? And moving on to my maniacal moment of the week, James Kendrick, my man, he knows where we're going. Over to Ryzen and Azerbaijan. God damn it, the new champ Chihiro Suzuki with a knockout of the year, an upset, another upset. I wouldn't say upset of the year, but my goodness, this guy, what a stretch he's having so far to become the Rise Featherweight champion. Knocks out Vugar Karamov in 1 minute and 18 seconds from the bottom, Alex, with an up kick and some punches to follow it up while the corpse of Karamov was on top of him and the ref didn't realize he was out, which was kind of like the craziest part of it to me. But yeah, I mean, this alone just for the upkick would probably deserves a mention, of course, but the fact that just the story of everything for Suzuki and how he got the upset over Pitbull to get him this fight in the first place in enemy territory in Azerbaijan. First time Ryzen has gone out of Japan. Title fight that quickly. I mean, all these things you can say, of course, something like this is always possibly fluky, but I mean, I don't know. He's got a magic touch right now. Was crazy shit. I mean, we talked about it very, very briefly on text, but I mean, this is one of the best knockouts of the year, right? I mean, an upkick. You don't see
Absolutely.
these.
Oh, absolutely, bro. It was violent. Like it was
Yes.
violent after he landed the up kick.
Just teeing
Um,
off.
dude, yeah, it was just pure violence, man. And yeah, I mean, I did a story about it Saturday night, and just going back and looking at his path, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just he's had a quite the last 3 fights. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it was also wild. I think I spoke to Saki Guevara about this when I saw him in San Diego and we were talking about Suzuki and the card coming up and all that. But like, you look at when Suzuki debuted in Ryzen, he got starched in 18 seconds by Shoji Mariyama, who is like, way twilight of his career. He's been like knocked out 4 times in a row since then. Like he's done. He's done so. But to go from that and then to this and like just complete one of those superstar moments where he's built just off the last one, like really helped. But then for this, like, and he's 24 too, Alex. Like we're seeing this happen in Ryzen right now, but you could end up seeing something similar if he can, continues to work on his ground game and all that. It's like Yuri rising to the UFC and all. So you gotta watch these kind of guys who have these crazy, weird moments because sometimes it can build to something. And now this is the perfect dream story scenario that he was hoping for. Becomes Rising champ after getting that Pitbull win. Got to do that rematch for the Bellator title. I mean, as long as they're around for, we got to do that. Try and make that happen. It's fucking cinema, my man. Right?
1000%, 1000%. Yeah, no, it was. He's on a run. He's on a run. That's all you can really say.
Yes, absolutely. So, congrats to Chihiro Suzuki. Spoiler alert, I am definitely going to try and get him on this month's episode of Broad Horizon, bring him back on, chat with him about that. How can you not? Great stuff there from him. So congrats to my maniacal moment of the week there for Suzuki. And, Jonathan Almeida, good job, I guess, too. They're like complete opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of delivery there.
Yeah, well,
That's just
1000%.
how it goes sometimes, guys. But all righty. As we move along now to the good old underrated moment of the week, though. This is always a fun one, too, to highlight kind of the lower things, maybe, or it's things that get buried by some of the stuff that we just mentioned. So, Alex, I have kind of two for this one. An in cage or in fight one, and then outside of fight one. But I honestly think that we might have the same non-fight related one here. So tell me what you got.
I mean, I kind of want to go to your story about Randy Couture.
Okay, okay.
It's just like him saying that Dana has something to do with the failed drug tests.
Mm-hmm. That was
Just kind of
very
just like
just thrown in there.
yeah, just kind of like out of left field. Like what, bro? Like you really think Dana's gonna go out and tell the the commission, be like, hey, I think you should, plant some fucking bad hot piss in these tests and really fuck up the PFL season.
Like he
I think
cares
that's
that
what,
much.
you know,
First of all.
like come on, dog. Like just know that you went to Vegas, who's pretty like their commission's pretty legit.
Yeah. As
Um,
much as we shit on them and as much as they do get stuff right, they are like the most experienced still. So it's
Yeah, it's Vegas and California. Like
yeah.
those are the fucking gold standard for the most part. So yes, that was just it was just very comical. When I was there at the junket, I was
When
just
you
like,
heard that, you're like, okay.
yeah, oh, okay, Randy. I can see you're still kind of pissed off. So there you go.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I actually thought that, we're taking from each other's stories then, even though you handed me that one earlier in the week. My underrated moment of the week is the poisoning. Alex Armin Petrosyan apparently in a since deleted post, right? So they're kind of backtracking, but for those of you guys who missed it, I'm sure you didn't if you watched the UFC Sao Paulo card, but one fight before, so there was a fight between I forget which one it was after. I'd have to have the card up, but Armin Petrosyan was supposed to fight Rodolfo Vieira. And yeah, so they announced there was a fight coming up, and then their fight was next. They announced the fight was canceled. This is like the latest that I've maybe ever seen this happen. At least I can remember in a long, long time. But on the broadcast, they announced Petrosyan fell ill, and the commentary was kind of like questioning like what like how that happens. So that
Yeah,
was kind of fun and interesting as it was unfolding. But then pretty shortly after that, we have here, let's do a little screen share action here. Give Alex some credit for his write up, of course, over at mmania.com. Shameless plug our own stuff as we do. And there's the image of him in this tinfoil. It's what it looks like. But if you scroll through, it was a Petrosian's management company suggesting that Superman may have been poisoned before his fight, and their quote exactly is, "Why was Armin Petrosian's fight canceled shortly before the duel? Armin felt bad. He was seriously poisoned in Brazil." So they just go right to the accusation there that something happened. Sugar has dropped sharply. It should be noted that the same poisoning happened to Roman Kopylov, which I'm kind of fuzzy on that one. We'll talk about it in a sec. There is even a suspicion from what products. Armenians have an even more serious situation. So then he's getting kind of nationalities involved here. It's good that UFC matchmakers in the face of Mick Maynard appreciate Arman. More than a couple days ago, there was a case UFC informed Petrosian that his opponent Vieira is out. So that's also kind of weird and conspiracy stuff there. And a striker was offered instead. Our fighter did not refuse and accepted a new matchup. Nevertheless, it was reported that Vieira was ready and he would be the one to come out. And now that such a situation has happened, Arman UFC said they're waiting for his recovery and are ready to give a new duel or reschedule this confrontation in a time acceptable in the Armenian fighter. Sugar is returning to normal now. This is just weird, Alex. This is just fucking. What were you thinking when you were writing this up? Like,
Well, yeah. So I had originally seen it. I seen it and I screenshot it because I was just like, There's no way this is gonna be fucking up
I think it's one of our
more
top
like
stories right now.
it's just nuts. Second of all, I mean, can we start calling fights duels from now on? I
I think
mean,
that's way more fun. Yes.
like I really want to see the duel this week between Yuri and Alex.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's just very. I mean, there was just so much in there, like saying that Vieira was out of the fight and then he
Yeah.
wasn't out of the fight, and that he. Some people were saying like, yeah, your sugar's low because of your weight cut, and it's not all back.
Right.
Um, and also people were just saying, yeah, like if you go to Brazil and you haven't like equated to their food, like you got to watch where you eat in Brazil.
Yes. Yeah, like just saying poisoning by itself, like, yeah, like of course food poisoning is a real thing, but it's the kind of stuff that followed it was like, what are you trying to say here? Like by mentioning Vieira being out, that's kind of, I don't know. This is a weird thing. I wish that we could get like Dana comments on it. Maybe someone will ask the next time we get a
Right.
hold of him, but totally just MMA, like just a weird, ridiculous
Yeah.
thing to happen mid
It's a
fight,
it's an
card.
MMA story,
Oh
1000%.
yes, 100%. That is right. But all right, before we move along, there was the other one I wanted to mention, which Ghost Phantom, you got it, of course. We got to give some love to Johnny Shags. I think Jonathan Haggerty getting just a one of my favorite performances of the year, Alex. I know that you were watching this one because we got the clip here from our social Twitter page, of course. Let's pull it up. Jonathan Haggerty winning another title against Fabricio Andrade at one fight night 16 last week, last Friday, and we're getting some slow motion. Sorry, but he was just,
Wi-Fi.
yeah, he was just phenomenal. First round was great. Just the way that he. All right, well, I guess we're not gonna watch it. I tried, but that's weird. Everything says it's fine, but yeah, Jonathan Haggerty, one of my favorite performances of the year. Fantastic finish, beating another fellow champion, the MMA champion of the bantamweight division. Looked really damn good. I want to hear what you thought about that performance, Alex, because my God, it was like that was chef's kiss for me.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, man. It was he looked phenomenal, man. I really like watching Haggerty fight. The dude is just chef's kiss. Yeah, it was a beautiful performance, and I mean, I kind of thought like Andrade would give him a little bit more trouble,
Yeah,
but
he
fuck
didn't like
no.
have a chance. That was my thing. Was watching it like right as it started. He controlled the pace so quickly and so right away. Just with his diversity and strikes and the speed of it. That Andrade was like only leg kicks in the first round because that was kind of all he could do. Just it was excellent stuff.
Yeah, no,
You
yeah,
can't say too much
1000%.
about it because it was just so good.
Yeah, no, 1000%. And then also in the co-main event, Ty Ruotolo got
Yes.
the championship.
He did get the title there. So, yeah, some good moments as always on those fight nights. My goodness, always delivering. And what a way to cap it off. Kind of, I don't know if you watched past after the fight, but kind of an awkward confrontation there that was
Yeah,
unnecessary. I was like, I don't even know
yeah.
who this guy is, but he's
And then they and then they like and then they like fucking suspended him for like what
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Like, okay, all right, whatever,
I
guys.
was hoping I was hoping we'd get like a Nashville brawl again, but
Yeah, something crazy. But nope, not in Thailand. So it's what it is. But all right, let's move along now to our Mania main line, you guys. Me and Alex's favorite moments, our favorite things to highlight, our personal favorites coming up, and then, of course, the UFC main event predictions and kind of touch ons there. But a lot to like for UFC 295 specifically, Alex. I mean, more for the hardcores, as we talked about last week, and just kind of as things were building up to this card. So I'm curious with what you're feeling. What is kind of tickling the fancy a little bit on maybe before we get to those title goods?
Benoit Saint Denis versus Matt Favola.
Yep, yep.
Fucking, it's gonna be violent for as long as it lasts. It's probably gonna last one round, maybe two. I just think, yeah, it's. I think Benoit Saint Denis is the fucking truth, bro. I really do. I
Hmm.
think this dude is legit as fuck, and I can see him. I mean, it's tough because the lightweight division is like
Yeah.
full of dinosaurs. Like I was gonna say, I could see Benoit challenging for the title within the next year and a half,
It
but it's
always,
hard.
with
Like
lightweight, it feels weird to say that about new people, right? Like that's the thing. Like I know what you're
one,
saying.
yeah, 1000%. Like they have dinosaurs up at the top that won't fight the new guys, so it's like, but I mean, dude, this guy is really, really good. We've seen how tough he is when he got battered on Fight Island, by Dos Santos, and
Mhm.
then for him to come back and just be as dominant as he is thus far in the lightweight division in his real division. And what's crazy is he's only been fighting professionally for like less than 5 years,
Yeah.
which is like, so he's only going to get better.
Yes.
He's ex-military, so you know he's fucking tough. He's got the mindset. So like, yeah, I mean, I think he's the truth. But Matt has
On
been,
his own roll. Yeah.
dude, on his roll. I did not expect him to knock out Drew Dober.
Mm-mm.
He's the first one to crack Dober's chin in over like 10 years or some shit. The first one to crack Dober's chin in the UFC.
Yeah.
So I mean, how can you doubt Matt Favola? But yeah, that's my fight, man. I think it's going to be bonkers, and for a card that's pretty mid, this card is like very per view worthy.
Yeah, no, I think that they got kind of just looking at it right now in terms of like the main card, the ones that feel pretty comfortable saying are going to have some good action on them. They got the choices right. Of course, the other ones are Diego Lopez and Pat Sabatini kicking things off. Potentially, maybe a super exciting ground fight, maybe more than anything there.
I feel like that's like a good prelim headliner. Not a
Yeah.
pay per view
Well, what would we
opener.
swap it with? I mean, Steve Ursak maybe and Costa could be. Well, I mean,
I
let's
mean, I would
see.
have put another fight entirely on the card. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the.
that's true.
I mean, but looking at this fight, for sure. I mean, it's of the fights on the card, it definitely be the one on the main card. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know in terms of, like, the actual name value, like we were saying last week too, it's, like, much more hardcore friendly. For sure, you
one
gotta kinda
thousand
know
percent,
know what you're
yeah.
getting, do a little bit of research and studying, but yeah, so for me, shocker, I'm taking, Dern versus Andrade in this one for a couple of reasons here, and I mean, first of all, this is a fight and a matchup that I think we should have probably got for Andrade's last fight, Alex. Like this is one that they could have done one fight before, probably for both of them too. I mean, of course, we got the Angela Hill one and Mackenzie Dern's last fight, which got her back in the win column. Stylistically, this is a very, very interesting matchup because Andrade. I mean, well, just first of all, there's not many grapplers or jiu-jitsu practitioners like Mackenzie Dern, obviously in the division, in most divisions, really. Um, and for Andrade to face somebody like her is very going to be very unique. And of course, I think the big thing here is just can't fight an easy fight. Can't fight an easy opponent for potentially could be staring at a 4-fight losing streak, which is absolutely wild to say. And I don't necessarily think Jessica Andrade is ever going to be in danger of being cut or anything because she's Jessica Andrade and always super entertaining, whether in victory or defeat. I'm just kind of really curious how she handles those potential grappling exchanges that we have because, of course, Jessica Andrade is crazy strong, and Mackenzie Dern also one of the more physically imposing strawweights as well. Like somewhat immovable object versus unstoppable force type of in that regard, I think, with getting to the ground. Not that we haven't seen Andrade taken down before, but I don't know. This one, and of course, she did get submitted with a guillotine from Tatiana in the last fight, but we'll see if she can make some much needed adjustments. And then on the feet, of course, she can crack like a motherfucker. But I don't know. I'm very intrigued to see what each of them can hopefully kind of show us. So for me, that's the one. I mean, both strawweight contenders.
I think it's going to be light work for Mackenzie Dern. I do.
You think that Andrade is done for? She's washed.
Well, she has been training at Extreme Couture, so she switched her teams. I know that she moved back to Brazil, and then she came back to Vegas. I just think that this is her fifth fight this year. Like she should have from what someone told me that like she's trying to get as much fights because there was a story that like her ex bankrupted her and took a lot of her money. Yeah. So I think that's why she's been so active to earn money and shit. So with that out there, I can understand why she's fighting so much. But on the flip side, like you're derailing your career very badly.
Yeah.
So it's like a push and pull type of thing. I don't think she's washed, and I think she beats a lot of women in that division. In all three divisions.
Yeah,
put it that way. I just think that like as long as Mackenzie Dern just doesn't box with her, I think Mackenzie Dern will get her down, top her within one round.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be that's kind of the thing that's always most interesting about Mackenzie Dern fights is one, it's just if she can get people down at all because she's got terrible takedowns. She's got no takedowns.
1000%.
So
yeah.
See
God
if
awful.
she learns. Yes, if they kind of start to show something here. So that's just kind of what we're waiting for from both of them is to show these things. But yes, I'm very intrigued to see how it unfolds. So all right. With that in mind, though, Alex, let's get into the goods, the gold, the big ones at the top of the card, starting with the co-main event, of course, interim heavyweight title on the line. This one ain't going the distance. I feel I might even bet on that. Not going to pick a winner. Maybe I'm not going to bet on a winner, but might throw some cheese down on, a finish. But Tom Aspinall, Sergey Pavlovich, Alex. What is our feel here? What is the thought?
Big boy, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I'm kind of leaning Sergey because he's been actually training for a fight.
Yeah.
As the backup. But I feel like Tom is the much more well-rounded mixed martial artist. It's tough, man. It's a tough fight because it's heavyweights, man, and both guys finish fights. I think it's gonna be like one of those fights, like whoever lands first. If Sergey doesn't gas out by punching Aspinall out, like does Tom just take him down? We've seen Sergey get taken down by Alistair Overeem and controlled, but again, that was on short notice, and he had very I think it was bad jet lag. And since that fight, he's looked fucking good.
Yes.
Very, very, very good and dangerous. Yeah, it's tough, man. I was leaning Pavlovich all for the last kind of week and a half, but the more that I think about it, I kind of think Aspinall just has him covered everywhere as long as he doesn't get chin checked.
Right.
So yeah, I'm kind of leaning Aspinall right now.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the big thing for me too, because I think that I feel pretty it's pretty objective and fair to say that Tom Aspinall is like undeniably the better fighter. Like he's just shown us a lot more in many ways. It's just the thing is Sergey Pavlovich has the power of God. Like he's just got this ever loving danger factor to him in his fists that if he disconnects, can Tom survive it? And I'm not necessarily too worried about Pavlovich's gas tank slowing down, but it's just a matter of I mean, I think he would slow as the fight goes on, of course, but if Tom can survive some shots because he's gonna get hit. I mean, of course, he looked incredibly evasive in his last fight coming back after, the knee, which was super impressive. Like, I thought that was just a phenomenal performance against Tybura. I think, how could you say it wasn't? But if he can avoid more shots than he takes, kind of maybe play the counter game a little bit, bull and Matador as best as he can against Pavlovich. Maybe mix in those takedown threats, like you were saying, just show off his well-roundedness. Make Sergey think a bit more so that the hands are not coming at him as frequently, as he's been showing off in his last stretch of fights. So for me, it's like everything says Tom Aspinall, but it just takes the one. It just takes the one to get him. So it's like, how much do you think? How much do you believe that he will avoid getting hit? And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. So, and the fact that he was preparing to, I think, is a slight factor to, look at. So, I think I am still going to take Pavlovich as well, just because the fact that people aren't getting away from his punches, Alex. They're just not. So, if anyone can, I think it is probably Tom Aspinall. But man, that's way easier said than done, obviously. And even guys like Blades, who when they did attempt, he shucked him off a little bit. He was able to avoid it. So,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised either way whatsoever. I just know that we're getting a finish from one of these guys, but I'm going to take Sergey. One or two. I'm not going to say specifically which round, but I don't know. I don't even think we probably won't get to the third for either of these guys. Definitely not. We're not needing those 4 and 5s, right? So, like, I hope not. If this is a boring fight, I'm gonna die.
I mean, we all thought fucking Jonathan Almeida and Derek Lewis
Yeah.
wasn't going 5 rounds, and that shit went fucking 25 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Octagon updates. What is up, sir? And well, let's integrate this question here from James real quick while we're on it, though. He says, a question going around Reddit. It says, is Tom Aspinall a talented heavyweight or someone who is a heavyweight but also talented? It sounds kind of like the same thing to me.
Someone who is a heavyweight but also talented.
Or,
The...
yeah, I don't know exactly what you're meaning there, James. Because he is a talented heavyweight for sure. I'm okay. So what I'm thinking, interpreting this is what if his skill would translate out of divisions, is what you're meaning, James. Because if that's what you mean, then yeah, I think he's not just good for being a heavyweight, right? That's kind of, I think. Yeah, no, I think that he's definitely shown that.
Yeah, he's got the boxing, he's got the jiu-jitsu, he's got the power, he's got the wrestling a little bit. Like, yeah 1000%.
Yeah. So incredibly kind of strange way to word that. But it's all good.
Yeah.
Fucking Reddit, of course. All right. So there we go. We are both Sergey, right? You said you're sticking there?
No, I think I'm going Aspinall.
Okay. All right. So half and half. But now we go to the main event, light heavyweights. Let's see if the title can stay on somebody, Alex. This is one of my most anticipated fights in a good while. I just love all Yuri fights. But for Alex Bahera to be on the other side now, this is pretty good. Pretty good. So what is the thought?
Man, of course, I threw out if Alex Pereira becomes double champion, like it's the ultimate slap in the face to Izzy.
Jeez.
And people got so mad, like, you can't bring up Izzy without Alex. You can't bring up Alex without Izzy. Shut the fuck up. Dude, I'm so happy Yuri's back. I was in the room when Yuri suffered his shoulder injury, and it was bad, man. It was bad. It was a scream that it was gnarly, and I did not think
penetrated your soul.
1000%. I think this is another thing where I think Yuri's the better mixed martial artist, but
Yes.
Alex is a scary striker with ridiculous power. I think, and I don't know, bro. I just feel like Yuri gets hit too much, and
Hmm.
his head move, like he has weird head movement, but
Yes.
I would not say he has the best head movement.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Weird,
if you're gonna,
effective.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if you're gonna do that against Alex Pereira, you're gonna get fucking chin checked. Now the thing is Alex's power as crazy as it is at
Mm,
middleweight, right? Like
right.
that's the real thing. Um, and we don't know that. Like, yeah, he fought at light heavyweight in Glory, but it's just different. I kind of would want to think it's the same kind of power,
Yeah.
especially with the 4 ounce gloves compared to the fucking Glory gloves.
Hmm.
I just I think if Yuri was smart, he would rely on his all of his mixed martial arts game and
Yeah.
try and take this guy down. And but Jan did that against him in Utah, and he took him down that first round. But Alex has been working on his takedown
Yes.
defense a lot with Glover. So, obviously Glover fought Yuri, so there's also he's in Alex's
Connection
ear.
there. Yeah.
So, I kind of think Alex is gonna knock Yuri out. That's kind of my thought right now, as of Tuesday, November 7th at 12:37. I think Alex is gonna knock Yuri out.
Ooh. Ooh. As a unashamed Yuri fan, I really hope not. But I've nothing against Alex Ferreira either. But oof, I mean, yeah, I think you summed that up very, very well. And just to go on kind of the grappling aspect of things, like yeah, Jan Blachowicz had very good success with his grappling, specifically in that first round before Utah kind of kicked in for him. But the it was maybe more impressive that Pereira survived. I thought he was done. I was like, oh, here comes the rear naked. Nope,
Yeah,
he hung in there, defended very well, stayed calm, patient, all that good stuff. Would be surprised to see him get in any positions like that against Yuri, like we have seen if you watch his rising career, that he has taken down some guys and even some decent wrestlers. Like there was I think Brandon Gertz, maybe there was a Bellator guy that he fought in Ryzen a couple fights before leaving, and had some success on top against him. So like it's one of those things that you just never think of Yuri for his grappling or ground game, despite getting the rear naked against Glover. Was You can't really count that as an impressive thing, or you just kind of lock that on in a crazy sequence. But um, it is there, and I think in a matchup like this, he just has he doesn't have to worry about he's not going against a better grappler, so that helps him, right? Like against Glover, that was obviously the massive X factor takeaway. Glover having the superior grappling. Yuri probably finishes him sooner, like that was kind of how that was just trending, where their successes were on the feet versus on the ground. That was kind of a little bit of the key story of it. But in this one, I think really what it's going to come down to is how I think the fact that Glover is in Alex's corner is massive because of how he can help him prepare for this fucking psychopath. Because that's my big thing is if Alex will be confused or not by just the random shit, the crazy diversity that Yuri will throw at people. Um, and just for that alone, that makes, and the experience, like all these kind of things in the MMA realm, make me lean towards Yuri. And I mean, they're both fucking big dudes, but Yuri's a very big dude himself and has already had more. Like, I don't think he can make middleweight. If we're gonna do that comparison, like I don't think he's cutting off, the weight to get down there. Um, but essentially, it's gonna come down to, I think, if how Alex handles, just kind of the diverse attacks. It because Yuri, obviously, we've seen the spinning back elbow. We've seen just the things he does they're not very orthodox, not normal. He is who he is, and that's why we love him so much. So
it's
I'm
pretty
taking
crazy
Yuri.
that it's pretty crazy that Alex has more UFC fights than Yuri.
Yeah, that is seriously wild.
you
um,
know,
but yeah, I'm so goddamn excited for it though. Like I really hope that we don't get like a quick knockout or something stupid like that. I want to see some wicked violence, all
Yeah,
that good stuff.
it's just such a fun matchup. I'm fucking so happy that Yuri's back. He's just a
Yes.
madman. Like it's
Yes.
just the sport's better with him fighting. You know, like it's just god damn. He's
Yeah.
just he's so fun to watch.
Nobody like that guy for sure. And Synchro throwing in a question here related to it. Do we think the fight will be as chaotic as Yuri versus Glover? That's a very good question. Synchro. It's it's hard for me. It's hard for me to say yes because of like a lot of what made that fight crazy were those grappling exchanges, which I don't think are a guarantee in this one, right?
1000% no.
Yeah.
It's if it's gonna be chaotic, it's gonna be chaotic on the feet. Someone drops somebody, and then it's just they survive and go to the second round. They drop them.
Something
It's just gonna
like
be
Arlovsky Brown, you know,
yeah,
like something
1000%.
ridiculous like that. So
Yeah,
very possible, but we will see. We will see. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's such a great fight to have. Main event or not, just that's beautiful.
yeah,
So all right, you guys. That was your Mania main line for the day. As we get up on, giddy up and yeehaw, matchup roundup time. Wrangle the troops. Real quick though, before we dive into the ones that have recently happened, Octagon update says Song versus Chris is done. Chris, who? What is he talking about? Song Yudong,
Chris Chris
obviously.
Chris Gutierrez and Song Yadong are fighting and are headlining UFC Shanghai.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So, I love Song Yudong. I like Chris Gutierrez as well, but I don't think that should be a headliner. I'm just gonna flat out say it.
Yeah. No one.
That's
There was no one stepping up to fight Song Yadong,
a
and
fucking
so
joke, dude. That actually upsets me because of obviously the Whaley yawn factor there, but like, I
yeah,
mean, good for Chris Gutierrez, obviously, like awesome for him, amazing, huge opportunity, all that good stuff, but frustrates me. Matchup wise, let's just throw it in to kick us off here with the matchup roundup. I, I mean, 7.5, I think. I like it a lot. I mean, the main event thing kind of annoys me, but what would you say? It's a fun
yeah.
matchup.
I mean, I think it's like an 8. Just because Chris Gutierrez is very underrated, very good.
Yes.
Song Yadong is very. I mean, he's very underrated.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you're really talking about it. And Song headlining his first China event, and
Yeah.
last time I talked to him at the Apex, like he said that like he's kind of like a celebrity in China, which is kind of cool.
Mm, yeah.
So it's kind of gonna be cool just to see what they do with him, like promotion wise over there.
Yeah. I mean, just like go all out, milk it. You know, in this case, you've already fucked up UFC. You dropped the ball already.
Yeah,
Just send this boy to the moon, please. Send that dong to the moon. So, oh yeah. Got to move on before I get too frustrated. But all right, to kick off the original lineup of things here, Alex, we have UFC 295. There was a late changeup or late addition. Yeah, I think injury, right? As Mateus Rebecki taking on Roosevelt Roberts this weekend, UFC 295. Excited to see Roosevelt Roberts after the tough run. Obviously, a little bit of a resurgence there. Didn't go so hot for him in the first run with the UFC. And obviously Rebecki doing quite well himself. 17-1 record doesn't hurt nobody. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. It's a good 7 for me. I think it should be fun.
yeah, it's the same thing. Roosevelt Roberts is now with Killcliff FC, so brand new camp. Back in the UFC after a pretty lackluster run. It's a tough matchup.
Yeah,
Rebecki's really legit, but I mean he struggled with another grappler in his UFC debut, so we'll see.
we shall see. And then we move along to next week's card. Next week's card, UFC Vegas 82, November 18th. We have Lucas Alexander versus Jika Seragi. Alex, not familiar with these guys really too much, not off the top of my head, anyways. So it'll get a 4 from me just for being a fight. But what do you think?
Yeah, it's like a solid 5. It's an apex fight. Lucas Alexander was supposed to fight on last week's Sao Paulo card, and Jika is the first fighter from Indonesia in the UFC.
Ooh,
So
okay. All right, very cool. Always good to get the diversity in there. But all right, then we move to the December cards. As over deep, we have Deep 117 Impact December 10th. It is the return of second best atomweight in the world, Siwoo Park, and she takes on Angie Madaji, who is also known as Harley Quinn. Not too familiar with her, but Siwoo Park, of course, is just one of the best in the world. So very, very excited to see her. So just for that alone, of course, she's going to get an 8 from me. But I also think that this fight is at 110, which is kind of interesting. So a little catch weight there in between. But Siwoo Park fights, can't go wrong with her. So I'm very excited to see her back always. You parrot me, Alex, or
I am. I really like watching Park fight. It's a lower rating because I don't care about her opponent.
yeah, I know this is just kind of a keep her busy fight, obviously. So don't know. We got to get her back in the rising rings, but yeah, just good to watch her fight. So interesting in that regard. But all right, then we go to UFC 296 now, December 16th. We got Andre Fili taking on Lucas Almeida. I mean, Andre Touchy Fili always in some pretty good fights too. And then we got Almeida here. Good 6 for me. I don't have too much to say about it. I think we know what we get with Andre Fili at this point. So he's generally around that range, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. Lucas Almeida kind of got fucked up in his last fight against Pat Sabatini, I believe that's what it was. He, I think he has a. It's just gonna be a kind of fun fight. I don't think these guys are gonna go to the ground. So put him in front of T-Mobile. It's gonna go. It's gonna. They're just gonna stand and bang. It's gonna be like a solid 6.5.
Yeah, sounds about right. And then we got a pair of Pancrase fights at Pancrase 340, December 24th, Christmas Eve show, and 340 events, Alex. I always love seeing that from Pancrase because you forget they've been around forever. They are definitely the dinos out there. But as a part of I believe this is a tournament, but Sayako Fujita and Mei Yamaguchi keeps on keeping on. They're fighting each other. And then Zenny Huang versus Sarame on the other side. So I believe winners will fight the winners there in both atomweight fights. Should be fun. Mei Yamaguchi very, very much in the twilight of her career, but she's always fun to watch. I mean, just for the fact that she literally cannot be finished. She's got 15 losses on her record, never been finished. So see if Fujita can be the one to do it. It's a 5 for me. I mean, it's not a crazy fight, but then Zenny Huang versus Sarame. That should be a pretty fun one, actually. I always love watching Sarame fight, and Zenny's pretty fun too. So that's a solid 6.5, I would say. But yeah, and tournaments. That's always fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna parrot you, but I am gonna say I am a fan of Lady Go for sure.
All right, there we go. You love to hear it. So, all right, then we get to 2024, Alex. My goodness, we're getting these announcements coming up now, and we got some big ones here after this one as Farid Basharat takes on Taylor Lapilus at UFC Vegas 83, January 13th. I'll let you know, Taylor Lapilus won me over massively in his last fight. I thought he was fucking sensational. So and obviously both Basharat brothers, pretty darn good. So I think this fight is awesome. This is like a 9 for me. I'm really excited for this fight.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very good fight. Man, I'm with you. Like Taylor really
He looked
won me
great.
over in his return to the UFC. It was kind of dumb that it took him that long to get back to
Yeah.
the UFC. Just the UFC being hard headed. But I mean, I'm a big Basharat bro believer. I think these guys are both very, very good. So I'm with you, bro. 9. It's a 9.
Yeah, that one is going to be awesome for sure. And all right, now, how we move along here too. I cannot wait to talk about this one with you because I found out about this during the Fight Companion on Friday for One Championship, and I was like, the MMA gods are they are out there they're listening. Some of you guys know where I'm going with this, but UFC 297 has the vacant bantamweight title fight going down. Rocky P. Raquel Pennington takes on not Juliana Pena. She's taking on Mayra Bueno Silva. Eat shit, USADA. UFC 297, January 20th, Canada. You know, I'm a lover of logic, and that's pretty much the thing for me. Pena is not in this. That's all I needed. These are the two right options. Fight should be okay, maybe. I love Bueno Silva. She's a finisher at least. It's the two right people. So just for that alone, and not Pena, and she's upset, obviously. It gets an 8 for me.
Yeah, no, 1000%. I mean, I think the fight kind of sucks. But I'm with you, bro. Like, I don't think Juliana Pena should have got a vacant shot because she got
Dominated.
not only did she lose the title, she lost her last fight. She got fucking dominated and fucked up, bro. Like I'm sorry, like the division sucks right now, but like you're not gonna,
It
you
was
might not.
also middle of last year.
Yeah, yeah, no, so I'm happy Myra got the fight, and I know that Myra and Juliana would have been cool, but I'm
Yeah.
happy Rocky got it too because she's actually
Longest
put in
winning
the
streak
work.
in the
Yeah,
division. Yeah.
put in the work. I thought they were gonna do like maybe slide Holly Holm in there, but I'm glad.
I know. I can't believe they're doing the right thing here. I really cannot
It's
believe it.
Holly Holm do Holly Holm versus Juliana Pena. Like that's the
Yes,
fight,
exactly. So I'm very, very pleasantly surprised by this. And also, I mean, just from the Bueno Silva side of things, too, right? Like they're not fucking her over for what it was Adderall, right? It wasn't like she
Yeah.
was like, we can get into this whole entire debate of if that's enhancing or not. And I guess you could like, it's not the same. It's
Bro,
not the same.
Adderall is fucking PEDs for fucking video gamers, bro. I don't. Come on, dog.
That is
Like
true.
what?
That is true.
Or fucking students, bro. What?
Yes.
Adderall's not gonna help you like slow down the punches, bro. Like I'm gonna see them fucking coming because I'm more focused. Like
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here, bro. Like God.
Yeah,
Stupid.
that was a crazy thing. So
Yeah,
it
it's
is
like you
good. It is
fucking.
good.
It's like you pop some fucking Adderall and you and now you move like the Matrix. Like
Yeah,
get the
that's
fuck
not
out of
how
here,
it
dude.
works.
Ah.
Oh my goodness. But Crumbopolis Rosen, good to see you, my friend. How are you doing? He's asking real quick, just throw this in. It's good to see you. If the UFC only goes to MSG once a year, is it a contract obligation thing? Yes, they have like the first week in November kind of locked down, right? From what I know. So yeah, even though I think I've been hearing stuff about potentially them coming back in the first quarter next year, I don't know. It's usually one though.
It could be UFC 300
Yeah, that's what it was.
if they do another Vegas show in the first 3 months,
Right.
which would suck, but
Yeah, so we'll see. But generally though, Crombie, yeah, we got the November shows, obviously, if you just kind of look at the past, well, probably since they first went there, honestly. But all right, so yeah, moving on. That is the first title fight of 4 that we've gotten announced recently. So as we move along that same card, the main event, again, Alex, the UFC is doing the right thing with UFC 297. You love to see it. The middleweight title on the line. Sean Strickland is defending in the main event against Dracus du Plessis. Fantastic fight. I think this is a 10 out of 10 for me. Everything considered, this is the one. This is perfect. Stylistically, very intriguing. I love it. This is perfect.
Yeah, I do know that the UFC were throwing like they wanted Hamzat to fight Sean, but timing just didn't line up, and I'm glad that Dracus is getting his fight, bro. Like, say what you want. I mean, he's the guy. Like he's the right, and it's a tough fight for Sean, bro. Like
Yes.
this is it's a tough fight. So 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, I love it, and we'll of course get into that more, and I want to talk about it more honestly, but I'm very excited for that one. So, a good first title fight, I guess technically the second title fight, but a first good pairing there of logic and freshness there to kick off UFC 297. Might try and get out of that one. Want to get back to Canada, honestly. So, what a better way to do it? But the 2 weeks after, maybe looks like here, UFC Fight Night. Not quite sure about this event yet, exactly what's going on with it. But February 3rd, we have Thomas Peterson versus Jamal Pogues. Don't really care. Unranked heavyweights. This is this is a one. I don't give a fucking shit. And what is going on with
Yeah,
Pogues' hair?
yeah. This is a rough fight.
Sorry.
Jamal has not looked impressive thus far. Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, that's
He
right.
Yeah, I think this is like a four for right now.
All right, no punches pulled by me. And then when it comes to heavyweights, that's for sure. But all right, then we're gonna close out here with some two big ones as well, some bangers. And I mean, also, I mean, the only one that makes sense, the featherweight title fight, UFC 298, February, specific date to be determined, February 2024. Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. I mean, I'm not too bothered about the whole timing thing, Alex. I know that's a narrative right now, so this is still a 10 out of 10 for me. I fucking love this matchup.
Yeah, no, 10 out of 10, and I'm calling it now. Ilia Topuria is going to beat Volkanovski and become champion.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. All right. I mean,
I've been saying it. I've been saying it before the Josh Emmett fight. Ilia Topuria is going to be the guy that's gonna
well,
dethrone Volk.
you drop some money on it. You got some solid odds there. You're still an underdog. Well, I mean, it's closer. That was the thing. I was like, oh, it's kind of close for Volk. You know, he's gotten to this point where that doesn't usually happen. What minus 170 is what I saw yesterday. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But all right, then for our last one to close out the matchup roundup here today, obviously March 2024 UFC 299 bantamweight title fight rematch. Sugar Sean O'Malley making his first defense against Marlon Chito Vera. So all these things we talking about UFC doing the right thing with the logic and all that. This is the opposite of it. This is completely the opposite. This is Michael Bisping, Dan Henderson too for me. Like I honestly do think that the matchup is going to be pretty intriguing to see play out, but this fucking fight should not be happening whatsoever. It's like ludicrous for the division. It kind of bums me out. So just like because of those things, I think the matchup is good enough to get a 6 for me, but it is dropped like those 4 points from the 10 if this was, Marab or Sandhagen. I mean,
Oh,
it should be
stop it! Stop being a fucking salty motherfucker, bro. Stop it! It's Chito Vera. It's the biggest fight that the UFC can put on in the bantamweight division right now. Fuck off. It's gonna be trash talk. It's gonna be build up. It's Sean O'Malley's first pay per view, first defense. Give him a defense before he gets a tough fight like Marab. Who gives a Yeah,
They gave us the other ones. We can do it here.
1000%. It's an 8 out of 10.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, then, a quick early pick. Do you think it'll be any different?
I think Sean beats Cheeto.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm curious to see how similar it looks, but my purity won't let me have it. Okay. And that's
Stop being salty. God
I know.
damn it.
That closes out the matchup roundup, everybody. Ye to the haw. As now it's time to take a trip on over to Spotlightville. Alex, let's highlight our favorite prospects and the ladies of the week. Who's yours this week, my friend? Who are we looking at?
So there isn't a whole lot of regional stuff. So I'm doing two. I'm doing a prospect fight of the week.
Okay.
Cam Smotherman versus Gutierrez is headlining Fury Challenger Series 10. It's a fantastic fight. Cam's coming off a knockout loss of the Contender Series. Mondo's coming off of Tough, the Ultimate Fighter loss on there. It's it's just a fantastic fight. Very, very fun. I want to highlight that, and then I want to highlight Josh Van, who's on the prelims of UFC 295.
Hmm.
I've been a big Josh fan. He also comes from Fury. Upset Zalgas in his UFC debut. 22 years old. Um, he's good, man. He's good, and he's fighting Kevin Borjas, who he was supposed to fight on the Contender Series before being called up on short notice. So keep an eye on Josh Fan.
All right, there we go. And then on the other side for me, taking our spotlight and shining on the lady of the week. This was kind of a tricky one here, I think, because I think at this point, Alex, I'm curious what you think too, but I think Tabitha Ricci is kind of in between, where you could say if you're a believer in her as a contender or a prospect still, I am not ready yet to say contender. So she's getting my female prospect spotlight this week. 4-fight winning streak, has a big, a tough matchup, I think, with Lupi Godinez, who could also, of course, take this spotlight here. But, potentially go on a 5-fight winning streak, really continue that momentum. It's like you got to quit ignoring her, give her a bigger fight after this if she wins for sure. And obviously, Tabitha Ricci been very strong on the ground throughout her entire career. And I mean, her only loss is at flyweight against the massive Manon Fiorot, who it's kind of unfair that that's on her record, honestly. Like, when you look at all those kind of factors, but she's been literally flawless outside of that. Looked very good. Obviously, had the great Jessica Penne submission before that, and then beat Jillian Robertson the last time out. So she's beating the grapplers at the grappling, and then just continually showing off the striking improvements as well. So Tabitha Ricci, I think it continues. I think it's been good though that it's been a little bit of a slow burn like this. Help her continually grow and kind of show off that she can be a contender. But for me, I don't think she's quite there yet because she hasn't beat that kind of person who's been there, and that's not Lupi. I mean, Lupi would be a great win and can be 5 wins in a row, but for me, win this one, I'm just gonna be right on that cusp still, but then she needs a big fight after. So I know you're a Tabitha Ricci fan as well, but I'm curious where you kind of put her on that spectrum. Is she already broken past for you?
No. No. I mean, beating Julian Robertson's pretty good, but still, um, not like a big win. I guess I would say. I think she's more prospect than contender. I don't
Hmm.
think I don't see her a contender at all yet. I think
Hmm.
she needs to develop a lot. All she has is wrestling. She has really good jujitsu, but she hasn't shown it at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. And her boxing is coming along, but she has no hands right now. So I think she's very one dimensional. And so at the end of the day, I want to know who's winning between Loopy and Tabitha this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, when in terms of like the overall game and kind of putting things together and growing in that regard, like you said, I mean, Lupi Godinez in the last fight was pretty awesome too. We saw her in person. That was at Noche, right? And she's always very active, is Lupi. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we kind of share. Just put it on the fight for this one, really. So don't just go on Tabitha. Got to give Lupi some love, who's also on a good winning streak, and yeah, big fight for both of them. So that will be a good one. And we're getting some Josh fan love in the chat as well from James and Octagon updates. So always love for the flyweights is always good. So, all right. Well, that is our good old Spotlightville. And now, it's time for our favorite segment of the show, you guys. We are going on into the Dralex Movie Club. As last week, for this past week, I Unsane from 2018, and Alex had Killer Joe from 2011, if I remember correctly. But I think it's safe to say some good ones here. Why don't you kick us off, my friend? I'm dying to know. I'm dying to know what you thought of old Killer Joe.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, it is the true reconnaissance. It's the one that like
Yes.
got him going, and he was phenomenal in the movie. I like Emil Hirsch playing this little
Mhm.
rat bastard that he plays.
He
That
just always seems young, doesn't he? He
yeah,
always seems
one
like a
yeah,
fucking 17 year
yeah,
old.
yeah, 1000%, and he plays the like little sneaky little rat
Oh,
really good. Um, yeah, Gino Temple was also good as
mhm.
Dottie. Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, it's just a very good thriller movie. The ending. I don't know if the ending landed as much like I. It was just kind of like
It was funny, I
it just
thought.
yeah, it just didn't end like perfectly. Like I wanted some like conclusion, like with Dottie be saying that she's pregnant, like
Yeah.
you know, like okay, like and then he fucking beats
Fuck
beats beats Emil to death with a fucking pumpkin with a pumpkin canned food thing. Like it's pretty yeah, it was nuts. So yeah, it was good. I think McConaughey really stole the show. He was
oh
very
man.
especially from like where he was before this movie,
Yeah.
it just was a night and day, and this really started his thing. Even though he kind of needs kind of another movie to get him back on track.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, just like the final scene, the whole section at the end of this movie is just like one of my favorites, dude.
No, 1000%. The tension was there, like, and
It's so tense
before
feeling.
before he even like started piecing it all together, you knew he knew before, like he knew what
Yes.
was up, and then how he started like just throwing it out there a little bit, like, and then it all comes around, and then the girlfriend was like just got caught,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
she fucking blows him with some fucking fried chicken, like,
Dude,
God,
that was just that fucking scene.
yeah.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Yes, I love that movie. And oh, Alvin, I love it, man. I love that you're in the club with us. He says, I thought Mr. McConaughey did a brilliant job acting that movie. Beautiful use of expressive emotions to put everyone on the edge watching. Yeah, I mean, he just it's like that's one of those things that bums me out about kind of a movie like this in terms of maybe the budget and the size of it, where it's like, dude, I know obviously a lot of people saw it, but for it to be a part of, that moment for him, the movement and getting out there, but like, man, people would appreciate it so much more like if this was a, widely seen big budget movie that was seen. But then that would also take it away and change it, right? That would make it a different movie. So that's just kind of how it goes. But yes, very good one. So, all right, Alex. Well, let's talk about Unsane a little bit because I watched this one just last night, and I have a lot of notes actually. I have a lot to say about this one. Um, my goodness, man, you do have some phenomenal taste, I will tell you. This was quite a trip in obviously the mental sense more than anything. Um, so I'm going to go in kind of order of what I wrote down here. But right off the top, I wanted to mention that I didn't realize we both had Juno Temple movies this week. So that was kind of a fun, pleasant surprise because I didn't look at the
Yeah.
cast or anything. But she popped up. She was in this one as Violet. And my God, I just want to highlight her, though, because I mean, maybe The Killer Joe was like one of the first movies I saw her in. But she has, if you're familiar with her, you guys, like her range is fucking phenomenal. Like in this movie, she's pretty much just kind of a mental patient for the most part. And then in Killer Joe, complete opposite, just kind of this young, innocent sister kind of figure. And if you've seen Ted Lasso, of course, then she's kind of the sexy girlfriend slut kind of person. Like she can kind of do it all, and that's I really like that about her. Of course, it's good to not get typecast. She's been kind of all over the place and pulls it off very well in whatever role she has. So shouts to Juno Temple. And this, I noticed it kind of faded towards the very ending portion of the movie, Alex, but very, very interestingly shot. Like the shots that Steven Soderbergh used in this movie made it kind of feel like everything was through like a webcam in a little bit, like very kind of close shots where the people's faces were like right in the middle of the screen a lot of the time, or like a side angle, like when Sawyer was on like the phone at the very beginning talking to her mom, stuff like that in the park. And it felt older, right? Like it felt 10 years older than it was. The movie was from 2018, but the way that it was filmed and shot felt like 2008, which isn't a bad thing. I just thought that was
Yeah.
very interesting.
Shot on an iPhone 7. Like
Oh, that's
I
right. That's what you said.
iPhone, yeah, iPhone Pro 7. It was shot on an iPhone Pro 7 and shot in 10 days.
Oh, wow, that changes everything. Wow, I forgot you fucking said that. Okay.
Yeah.
That is wild. Alright, that makes a lot more sense, but, like, that's fucking crazy. Okay, you just blew my mind with that. Alright.
Yeah, yeah.
This is, that is absolutely insane. Um, okay, yeah, super impressive. And I mean, like what I just said right there, those weren't like bad things or anything. It was just obvious observations with forgetting that fact about the iPhone, but pretty cool. That's a fun, I'm sure that was an amazingly fun challenge for Steven Soderbergh to work with. Like, I can only imagine. And then 10 days, that is also insane. Um, this is a silly note I put, but we got a Hail Satan shout right out the gate. Kind of was fun. I always appreciate one of those because I think they're funny. So that was a fun sequence at the bar when she was kind of on the date. Zach Cherry makes a kind of wild appearance in here as one of the staff members. He is in Severance, one of my all-time favorite shows. So that was fun seeing him in this movie. And it was kind of, man, as it was going on, it was fun to see the dynamic between Sawyer and everybody else where they were like kind of, I don't want to say making fun of her necessarily, but she was like the spotlight. Everyone was kind of paying attention to her like, what's this up with this lady? Like it all made her seem crazier than them, like significantly, despite,
Right.
the factors of maybe that not being the case and whatnot. Um, and it was interesting too, Alex, because as it was playing out, I was feeling like, all right, she's definitely got some issues here. And for a while, I was thinking that Jay Farrow's character, who also excellent, I was very pleasantly surprised by his performance. He did great. Nate was his character. I didn't even think he was real for a while. I was noticing the interactions. He seemed the most sane, right? The most normal guy in there. Like, why is he even in here? Obviously, tells you why, explains it a little bit throughout. But um, I thought he was like in her head for the most part, and then continues on. And I want to say the mom's perspective and dealings with kind of this kind of thing, I think spoke to me a whole lot and kind of hit me with that. Like, man, I wonder what that is fucking like. And if it is like that for people who get in these situations, let's say they have a kid or whatever, and they're trying to get them out, and it's just not that easy. So that was kind of like a really blast of reality moment in the movie. I thought, just like, I wonder what that is like and how, well, scary just for the parent or the person who knows the person who's in there in certain cases. Was fascinating to me. I thought the crayon, there wasn't nothing with crayons. She was asking for crayons, but that was incredibly simple but really trippy and effective. And with the iPhone there, and if you guys didn't see this or don't know, it's like the scene is showing her from behind the back of her head, but also then there's like a filter of the front of her, and it was like really effective. A very simple just screen effect, but it was like, damn, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling what she's feeling from this. So that was really cool. Really great job there. Um, we also got to surprise Matt Damon, Alex. I didn't expect that. He was great for, like the 5 minutes he was in this. That was funny. Um, and in the end, I liked how, at least my interpretation of this was that it was pretty crazy to see how she ends up not actually being crazy. So I was
Right.
like, all right. All right. I like, because it really felt like she was to me as you're watching it. And then, of course, the stalker guy, David, actually being him, and fucking, I feel kind of bad for that actor, like getting into that role. And then, like, I'm always going to think of him as this fucking psycho now.
Yeah.
Like, Josh Leonard, I think. But
1000%. Yeah.
that was good.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And like the thing about it is like movies like that where someone's trapped in a mental ward is it's terrifying to me because I've been
Yeah.
to rehab and I went and I got 5150 one time. And so being locked in a facility and not being able to leave is
Yeah.
terrifying. And there's no way for you to get out. And then add on top of that that you're crazy or people are saying you're crazy and you can't leave and
Yeah.
no one believes you that
Ugh.
like I'm not crazy. Like I'm not like, dude, I'm not crazy. And they're like, yeah, yes, you are. Like
Yeah.
crazy people say that they're not crazy. So like,
Exactly.
just that plot itself is it's terrifying to me. It's terrifying to me.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a thing. And kind of like kind of like Creep a little bit too. How I was feeling creepy myself watching. I got a little bit of that watching this one
Yeah,
too. I was like, oh, am I? You
yeah,
know what's going on here?
yeah,
But
1000%.
that was it was super effective, super great in that way. And I want to say too, I want to highlight the first solitary confinement scene, Alex, because that was maybe the best scene of the movie for sure. Like Claire Foy fucking destroyed it.
Yeah,
That was Sawyer, of course, the main character. When she's just kind of talking to David there, I was just locked in. That was great. That was sensational stuff. So, yeah, Soderbergh killed it with this in absolutely every sense. And I think that the ending completely stuck it as well, because that was something not directly relatable for me, but I was, in the past in an abusive relationship, and I remember having moments of like seeing shit like that, like maybe that person is there when they're not, um, which was bad and not fun. Not to that extreme of a level, but I could relate to that. And I was like, damn, that's fucking, yep. This was a good movie. So I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was awesome, man. Great recommendation. Probably a solid 9 for me. I thought it hit really, really everywhere. Very good.
sweet,
Very good stuff.
sweet,
So,
sweet.
um, and Alvin checked it out as well. Says, "I believe that Unsane was timeless. I thought it was beautifully made and written film. Yes, I love the imagery and cinematography. Yeah, I mean, like it looked very good. Like I didn't for a second even that never even clicked in my mind to remember because you told me that and it never came back into my mind. So I just thought,
It's a
yeah,
trip.
they were doing some unique kind of shooting there. So it was very, very impressive in that regard. And Alvin says the physical altercations and the way it was shot was very unnerving and done very nicely, as it could feel the emotion from the scenes. Yeah, like when every time she was hitting everybody, that was fun, for sure. So yes. Um, Krabopolis asking, will we be writing the movie names you give each other in the movie notes? I mean, we're about to do that part of the show, Krabopolis. So I don't know what you mean by writing them. I mean, we'll straight up tell us, but
In the show notes.
in the show notes. I mean, in our personal notes, they're not on the screen, but we'll let you know here. So let's get to that part, Alex. What do we got this week? We're finally out of spooky season, but what kind of genre are we sticking with here?
Depends. I have three.
Okay.
And just tell me if you've seen. Have you seen Sicario?
That's the one with Selma Hayek. No, no, no.
No, it's
Okay.
with Benicio del Toro.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, I've have not seen it. I know about it, but yeah. All
That's your
right.
movie.
All right. Cool.
That's your
And
movie.
Sicario, let me jot it down here, is 20. What do we got for our time?
Sicario is
Early
2015.
2010s, right? Okay, 2015. And they did
2015.
make a sequel, right? So,
It's not as good as the first one.
okay. Well, we won't worry about that then. But all right.
Oh, ooh, you're gonna see Sicario. Fucking brilliant movie.
All right. Looking forward to it. I like Benicio del Toro, so that will be fun. All right. So, with my choices here, I I feel pretty comfortable about you not having seen, like I said, two of these, and I'm gonna go with a movie that I saw a couple months ago, and I watched it like 3 times right away. I really enjoyed it. But have you seen A Scanner Darkly?
A Scanner Darkly.
Richard Linklater
Mm,
film, Keanu Reeves, Woody Harrelson.
no, I haven't.
Oh, all right. So this movie is I don't even know
Yeah.
how to describe it. Kind of drama, not so much thriller, a little bit comedy. I mean, there are some really funny parts in it. Robert Downey Jr. Maybe my favorite performance from him out of anything he's done. He's fucking fantastic in this movie. Very, very interesting what they did with it because it is all shot in rotoscope. So it looks like, animation, but it's just kind of they did it over that way. So they actually acted out the scenes, but just made it that way, which you can kind of see why for how the story is. But very good. I enjoyed the movie a lot. Obviously, I watched it multiple times within the first bit of watching it a couple months ago. But Scanner Darkly 2006, I believe. So check that one out, you guys, if you
I
so
remember
fancy.
seeing this. I remember it coming out in theaters.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's because I was always seeing like things about it because it obviously stands out for the way it's shot and looks. So I was like,
Mhm.
what is this? I got to get on it. So I finally got to it a couple months ago. But all right,
Sweet.
excited to hear what you think about that one. I promise there will be no rape or anything like that. That's
Thank God.
because I noticed after Cold Fish and you said that, and I was like, oh, Killer Joe has that scene that's kind of, a little
Yeah.
bit. It's like I don't want
Yeah.
to
Like,
start a
Jesus
trend
Christ,
here.
bro.
But all right, you guys, we can close up the Drelex movie club there. Fucking good stuff this week, I think. Awesome. Looking forward to Sicario because again, yeah, that's one of those movies like I have not seen it, like I said, but I've heard very few bad things about it. So looking forward to that
Yeah.
watch. And
It's
then
epic.
Scanner Darkly is very fun, I promise. So all right, so we'll close things out with the Q&A portion now. Just a couple from you guys. Appreciate you always, no matter what. But James Kendrick, starting with does Alex choose who he does humanizing athletes on?
Yeah, it's basically just whatever athletes get back to me in a timely fashion. I haven't been releasing some like every week because I already released them like either last year, and like I feel like just kind of cheap, like just reposting them
And you're getting
every
around to
single time
everybody
I fight.
now.
Yeah, so yeah,
All right, there we go. And Synchro asking, is the show like WMA Today or WMA Mania? In some ways, in some other ways, not obviously, as you've probably watched throughout the whole thing, Synchro. I don't remember if you were here for the last couple episodes. My bad, man. But in some ways not. Obviously, still MMA Mania. But then Synchro is also asking, is Patty Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson going under the radar like Patty Sabs versus Diego Lopez? I mean,
no,
I don't know about comparing those. I like the Patty Sabs nickname. I don't know about the comparison there, but I think Patty Pimblett and Ferguson is relatively under the radar just because the card it's on, Alex. Like people have talked about it a little bit, but it doesn't feel like the same as these past Patty fights yet. Of course, we still have, a month, but I would say
I,
so right now.
I think it's just what it is. Like we haven't heard from Patty anywhere,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we've only seen Tony like post on social media. So I think once someone does an interview with Patty, it'll start ramping up.
Yeah, I agree with that. James Kendrick saying Durn and Andrade are not even in title contention. Why is this on the main card of a pay per view? Well, they are, is the thing. Maybe not so much Andrade at the moment, but Mackenzie Dern 100%. If she 2 more wins, she could be fighting for a title, of course. So, um, yeah, and I mean they're both ranked contenders, former champ. You know the answer to this, James. I know you just hate both of them. So that's just how it is. And Ghost says, why are you so angry about UFC China, Drake? I knew in August that Whaley was going to take time off since she was in camp for 6 months. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, bro. Why are you so angry?
I already told you. If they're going to China, there's only one fight to do there. Self-explanatory. I've been down this road.
Take
All
a
right.
chill pill, bro.
Take a chill pill. I know. And then Ghost says, would Alex be interested in the content I made on X? His technical in the weeds breakdown threads, his cup of chamomile tea. Very specific.
I will check it out.
Yes, Ghost always doing plenty of he's getting into the Twitter with the threads there. So
Sweet.
doing some good work. But all right, another show in the books, another good one, if I do say so myself, and a good event coming up, you guys. So UFC 295 back in New York, Madison Square Garden. Stay tuned for that. Would be some different stuff. But for us here at MMA.com, Alex, shameless plugs. What are the things we're working on? We got Random Land every what is it, Friday when you do those? What else we got interview wise and all that?
I just talked with Mike Perry this morning,
Mhm.
so that'll be out at some point, and I think that's basically it. I just want to know that Belle got a haircut yesterday, and
Oh,
so she just looks adorable.
all cleaned up and cute for the Thanksgiving season. Love to see it. All right. So, yes, as for me, I spoke to Dustin Poirier last Friday. That interview is out now. Check it out, MMA.com, of course, here on the channel. Caught up with him, see where he was at with things. Says he's walking around at 172, so he does not want to go up to welterweight, even though I think that'd be a best option right now. So he's waiting for any short notice possibilities and whatnot, but hopefully see him back soon. Check that out. And then talking to a pretty decent name again tomorrow. So that will probably be out next week after it is done, or Thursday. We shall see, but always doing stuff. And then, yeah, I think that is about it. We'll be back on the road for the PFL Championship coming up here, you guys. So there will be that. We'll have to figure out what we do with the show then, because I will be leaving Tuesday on that one. So we'll figure it out. But until then, we'll be here next week. Same time, same day, all that good stuff. You can follow me at DrakeRiggs _ Twitter and Instagram. Follow him at Alex B. Hunin on Twitter and Instagram as well. MMA.com for all your MMA needs. And we will see you next time, everybody. Take care and have a good one.